Thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon for Dousing Your Dumpster Fires. I'd like to start by just getting a little sense of who's in the room. So if you are a business owner or entrepreneur, could you raise your hand for me, please? All right, super. If you are a want-to-be business owner or entrepreneur, do we have any of those in here? Okay, awesome. All right, anyone in here who's just interested in the topic? Okay, cool. And is anyone here by mistake? I know there are a lot of choices. And sometimes another guy came in and he's like, oh, you're, I'm like, yeah, no, he left. So, so the reason I wanted to talk about dumpster fires, I wrote a column for the Biz Times a few months ago about this topic, and it came to me based on a conversation. Well, first of all, everybody uses the term dumpster fire to describe things that are like dumpster fires, right? So whether it's politics or whether it's how we handle COVID-19 or whatever, I find that this term dumpster fire gets used a lot, and it gets used a lot usually to describe something that's funny if you're not in it, maybe not so funny if you are in it, but ultimately it's used often for things that you think are messed up but have no idea about how to fix. And what made me want to write that column was that this guy, business owner that I was talking to, he said to me, you know, I think I'm going to sell my business. I had a business broker come to me unsolicited, and he started talking to me about what he could get for my business. And I was like, that sounds awesome. Now, I hadn't done any work. This is him talking. I hadn't done any work, and really, I'm totally frustrated with my business. I can't keep any key people. I feel like everything is on my shoulders, and I just want to get out. And I said to this guy, you're prepared to be disappointed, right? And he said, well, what are you talking about? I was like, well, look, man, nobody wants to buy your dumpster fires. And everything you have, as you just described to me, is not a business that I want to buy. It's a business that I want to run away from. And the lesson is, you know, well, I don't know if he took this lesson or not, but the lesson I would take away from that conversation is, if you really want to get value out of your business, you need to plan to get value out of your business. You can't operate a business with all kinds of problems and then think you can find someone that you can lay those problems on and that they will gladly pay you full value for that business, right? That's kind of crazy, right? Who's got a dumpster fire story in here like I just told? Anybody got a story they want to share of a dumpster fire type conversation that you've had with somebody, or you've left thinking they are like in outer space on what they think about what their business is worth or what the process of selling a business like? Anybody have a story like that? No? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And how did he take it?
We're still walking and tackling dumpster fires every other month.
Okay. Okay. So, what's your name? Andrea. So the key takeaway that I hear from you is that people will come and tell you that they want to buy your business, right? They'll tell you that your business is very valuable. And they're telling you that for a reason that may not be in your best interest. It may be, in fact, in their best interest. So I'm going to give you a book, Who Not How, for volunteering to talk about this. This is a wonderful book by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy about how you can increase the value of your business by figuring out how to grow without everything coming down on you. It's a very, very powerful book. So thank you for that. So the best buyers aren't interested in dumpster fires, and you, as a business owner or would-be business owner or someone who's interested in helping business owners, should keep in mind that your job, your result, the end result for you is what I call a dream exit. That's what you want to have. You want to have a dream exit, and a dream exit happens when two things occur. You get maximum value for your business. That's number one. That's very difficult to do, but I'm going to tell you how to get started on it. And number two, you have maximum meaning in your life after you sell your business. That should be the goal of every business owner, those two things. Maybe others for sure, but those two things should certainly be the goal. Maximum value for your business, right? That's why you're in business. You're in business to create maximum value, and then maximum meaning. The result of your business is going to be not just a financial outcome, but a life-changing outcome as well, and you have to be prepared for that. And we're going to talk about both of those things as we go along. Unfortunately, according to UBS, 81% of business owners have some type of regret in the first 18 months after selling their business. Now think about that. 81% have some kind of regret after selling their business, after working their whole lives or a significant portion of their lives to build a business, to build value, to build something that somebody else wanted to buy, and that as a result would give you all the freedom you want in the world. And 81% think they messed it up, have some regret about that. I think that is horrible. That is horrible. And so I've made it my mission, or at least one of my missions in life, to help entrepreneurs and business owners not be one of those 81%, but be one of the 19%. This dartboard sort of shows you, like 1 in 5 darts hits the mark. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And this Teddy Atlas, are any of you familiar with Teddy Atlas? I know Todd would be familiar with Teddy Atlas. So Teddy Atlas is a brawler of a guy who grew up in a very privileged household, kind of went in a different way with his life early on, ended up in jail, ended up just being really a criminal, and then he became a boxer, and then he became a boxing coach, and then he worked with Customato and Mike Tyson, and now he's a kind of a big-time boxing announcer. But I was listening to Teddy, who I had never listened to before. I didn't even know who he was, but he's on the Lex Friedman podcast, and he said this sentence, regret is a solitary sentence. And I wrote it down as I was listening to it because I was like, damn it. He was talking about all the regrets in his life, including holding a gun to Mike Tyson's head after Mike Tyson had an inappropriate relationship with one of Teddy's relatives. And he said, you know, regret is a solitary sentence. And I thought, that's perfect for what happens to most entrepreneurs. If you sell your business and you're not happy about the result, that regret that you have, nobody cares about it. Nobody outside of you cares about it. And so you're basically sentencing yourself to something you could have prevented. And I will probably say some things now or today during this that for business owners that might be a little uncomfortable and might hurt a little bit, because I want you thinking about how not to have regret, how not to erase value from your business as you grow it, how to maximize it, and how to get out of it what you want. So entrepreneurial malpractice, that's what I think so many entrepreneurs and business owners do when it comes to growing value in their business and when it comes to the time when you want to sell the business. It's entrepreneurial malpractice, no different than a physician's malpractice or anyone else's type of malpractice. You have to do the work in order to get the best out of it. And so many of us, and I'm sorry to say this, but the facts say it as well, 81%, so many of us aren't willing to do the work. And we just want to sort of hope that it happens. And you've all heard that hope isn't a strategy. It's not a strategy, but it's something that's so easy to do. Just hope that it'll turn out okay, right? It makes you feel good for not doing what you maybe should be doing in order to get what you actually want. So here's me by the numbers. I've been in business for 31 years. I've been personally involved with my own money in 25 acquisitions. I've founded 2 companies, and I've sold 2 companies, one to a publicly owned company and one to a very large private equity-backed company. And that math, it probably looks a little fuzzy to you, but 75,000 hours is the amount of expertise that I have in founding businesses, growing businesses, buying businesses. Often, and almost every time I bought a business, I got the dream out of it, not the person I bought it from because they hadn't done the work. And selling 2 businesses as well. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of that I may know a couple of things about what I'm talking about. And I was influenced to do this work by Charlie Munger, who recently passed away. But Charlie, had this saying that the most valuable thing, or the best thing you could do when you know something is share it with other people. And so I know from my experience, not only in my own acquisitions, but with my colleagues, my friends, most of whom are entrepreneurs, that I can help. And that's what I want to do. So let's start with something. This is another saying that came from Dan Sullivan, the person who wrote the book that I gave Andrea. All progress starts with the truth. So this is a question that too many people fail to ask them, or a saying that too many people fail to follow. All progress starts with the truth. A lot of people want to, including me from time to time, I want to run away from the truth. The truth is, scary. The truth is maybe a bad reflection on me. The truth is something that's easy for me to kick down the road. The truth is something that's easy for me to ignore. It's easy to ignore, right, Dave? Sometimes it's easy to ignore. And I don't want you to ignore the truth. Instead, I want you to think about this as I'm going to repeat this a couple times today, but the best way to get to the truth is for you to ask the question, what do you want? What do you want? How many times have you asked yourself, what do I want? It's a lot easier to ask people what they want. It's a lot easier to ask, help people get what they want. It's a lot easier to feel like that's how you get value, is by helping people get what they want. And I know there's a saying, you help people get what they want and they will help you get what you want, and there's probably truth to that, but it really helps when you know what the hell you want. Right? So what do you want? Tom, what do you want? All right. Who else wants to share what they want? Really share what you want. As if you're a business owner, what do you actually want? Yes?
I want to be able to have a flexible schedule so that I can live the life that I want to live, but still be able to make enough money to be efficient at what I'm doing and still be able to live that way.
Okay, that's great. And when you say I and my, is that just you or a team that you're building, or how do you think about it?
I'm CEO and only employee at this point.
Okay.
So
And
I want to grow it to a point. It's going to start regionally, and then I want to go nationally.
okay.
To get to that point.
Sure. So the reality check is, where are you today with that?
I'm still myself, right?
Yeah.
So what? I guess.
Where did you come from? Like, you got to be yourself here. You probably, in some point in the past, you weren't yourself. So how far have you come to get where you are?
Altogether, probably 25 years in a number of different industries.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
To start my business and to be able grow it and to have the branding of what I do and the recognition of the name and the service that I provide.
Okay. And what is that, just so we know?
I'm a forensic accountant, so essentially I provide data analysis for courts, whether that's civil court, criminal court, probate court, guardianship court, whatever the case may be. It's essentially finding the money that was stolen. And I have a passion for elder financial exploitation.
Okay.
And investigating that aspect of it. But I do all different types of felony financial crimes, so money laundering, embezzlement, theft by contractor.
Got it. How many people here who have a business or in their personal life have had something stolen from them, money? Okay, you know someone here that can help you. Your name?
April.
April. Here you go, April. Here's a book for you.
Thank you.
This can help.
This is actually awesome. I actually went to a leadership event about 2 weeks ago, and they had suggested this book.
Oh, is that right? Oh, wonderful. Okay, well now, did you get it before? Or now you have
They
it.
just told me that I should.
Okay, so great. Well, thank you, April. And again, all progress starts with the truth. So thanks for sharing your truth. And part of truth, of course, is knowing what your reality is. And your reality, you kind of always have to know where you are. That's like your starting point in your truth, and where you want to be is like the ending point of your truth. So you've got to me, to build value in a business, you have to proactively apply and bring a buyer's lens to your business. This is way overlooked, and I guess I would say it's the biggest thing that can make a transformational change in your business, is to look at it like you're a buyer. Oh, did I miss something there? Okay, yeah, and do this today. Not tomorrow, not later. Do it today. And why is today the day? Today is the day because no one has a permanent lease on life. You don't have a permanent lease on life. I don't have a permanent lease on life. Nobody in your company has a permanent lease on life. Nobody in your family has a permanent lease on life. So, did I go back? I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. So, the best time to get started is today, right now. Here's another thing I will tell you. If you are a business owner right now, your business will never be worth less than it is today. Your business will never be worth less than it is today. Meaning, you have a tremendous opportunity to grow value in your business. Because if you haven't done any type of planning for your exit or thinking about what you want, or all progress starts with the truth, your business is worth less today than it will ever be. And I don't care how much you've grown it so far. It's worth less today than it will ever be. So here are some questions you need to be asking yourself. These are just the getting started, super simple questions. What is a business exit strategy? Who wants to answer? Come on. Nobody wants to answer. Ty. Sale? Okay. All right. So sale is part of it, but it's a plan that outlines how a business owner will sell or otherwise transition their business. It's a documented plan. So it is a sale or a process, but I think it's a little bit more than that. And by the way, if anyone in here thinks that their business won't transition at some point, does anyone think their business won't transition at some point? Even the folks here are like, I'm going to own this thing forever. You're not going to last forever, right? No one has a permanent lease on life. So your business is definitely going to transition. So what are different types of exit strategies? Who can name a few types of exit strategies? Yes, sir. Acquisition or IPO. Great. Others? Hand down to family. That's a perfectly legitimate one. Yes. Others? Close. Unfortunately, that is a possibility. Yes. Anything else? Yeah, you hit a lot of them. So, you've got selling to family members, you've got ESOPs, you've got selling to your management team, you've got IPO. You got selling to private equity, you've got a bunch of different things. Key is you need to be aware of what all those are and start thinking about what might feel right to you, because all of them are different and they come with different pros and cons. Next is, how can an exit strategy benefit my business now? And I'll just say this true. Any business that has an exit strategy and starts planning for it is going to be a more valuable business the day that you start that than the day before. I told you your business is, if you don't have that, your business is worth the less it can possibly be right now. Once you start planning, having a documented, well-planned exit strategy, your business is going to improve, even if you have no intention of selling it. You're going to have a better business. And as business owners and entrepreneurs, that's our job. Our job is to make sure we have a better business every day, whether we're 1 people or 1,000. Our job is to use and maximize the capability inside of our business every day to build value. And when you know where you're going, when you know what you want, and when you start to plan for that deliberately, you are going to improve value in your business, whether you want to sell it or not. And why is planning an exit strategy so important? Well, it's important probably for what I just said. It's not just about selling the business. It's about furthering, building value in the business. It's about building value in yourself as a leader. It's about maximizing your value while you're maximizing the value of the business. And so what gets in the way of that? Well, there's a lot of things that get in the way of that, but I'm going to talk about 3. I call them the 3 F's. The 3 F's are fires, fears, and folly. And maybe this will sound familiar to some of you. It definitely sounded familiar to me for a while, and it's one of the most difficult things to get yourself out of as you're thinking about your future, but it's that I have too many fires to put out today, and that prevents me from preparing for tomorrow. Who feels like that sometimes? Oh, come on. Not everybody put up their hand. Come on. So that's a real thing. There are real fires in business. When you own a business, you have real fires. If you don't have real fires, you're probably fooling yourself. Or you're ignoring them, or you're playing golf instead of dealing with them, or something like that. So fires are real. Fears are real. I don't like asking for help, and I don't know where to find it. That's a real, legitimate fear. I know most of you in here is probably my guess that you are very well accomplished, you're very smart, you think you have very, very strong capabilities, and you probably do. And when something happens, or when something comes up that you don't feel very comfortable with, you, rather than saying I need help, you might want to instead choose to ignore it. And that happens all the time, to the detriment of us as we're building value in our business. And the third is folly, and this one you see a lot. I'm going to tell you a story about my own folly, but you see this a lot, and the folly is that, I work best when I just wing it, man. So when the time comes and someone comes along and gives me an offer, I'm going to wing it. I'm going to get the best deal out of that as I possibly can, because that's what I do every day in business. I get the best deal I can out of my customers. And so they think, well, if I can negotiate with my customers, I can negotiate with a sophisticated buyer and get the best I can, the best deal I possibly can out of them because I'm smarter than them. They're not. You are definitely not. So I like this quote from Norman Schwarzkopf: the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. And selling your business, or getting maximum value, having a dream exit, that's war. That's war, and it takes a lot of preparation to get there, and you will benefit a lot by doing the work, sweating before the war, than you will trying to catch up in the war of trying to extract maximum value for your business, because it's too late at that point. Unless you got, the next Google or something, which maybe you do, probably don't. Catching up at the time you want to sell with a sophisticated buyer that you've done no planning for, you are going to get marginalized. So here's my $4 million mistake. I thought I was smart. In 2008, I went through an investment banking process with my business. My partners and I wanted to, they wanted to get their money and go away, and I wanted to own the whole business. And I went through this investment banking process. It was really, really good. I mean, I learned a ton. At the end of it, we couldn't come to an agreement with the buyers that they had assembled that made sense for me. And so we walked away from it. And I was very, very fortunate that my partners allowed us to walk away from it because they controlled the business. We were equal partners, 3 of us. They controlled the business. They could have said, no, we're going to sell it, but they didn't. Instead, several years later, I was able to purchase their shares myself so that I could own 100% of the business. So from 2008 to 2013, I had this experience with the investment banker. I ended up negotiating a buyout with my partners because, so I'm thinking, man, I can do this. And in 2015, a buyer came along for my business, and they made what I thought was a fantastic offer. Like a great offer. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And this is a publicly traded company. They got their own legal staff. They got their own M&A people. They know how to do deals. But I knew how to do deals. I'd acquired a bunch of businesses before that time. I'd been through the investment banking process. I learned all the tricks. I learned everything I should learn. Or so I thought. And we went down the process, got super near the end, and because I failed this part of the planning, I told them something about my own personal financial situation that was important to me, and I felt like since we were buddies now, so close to the point where we're gonna do this deal, I thought we're buddies now, I can tell you this and maybe you can help me out. And it's not important what the details were, I can tell them to you later if you want to know them, but they didn't help me out. In fact, a few days later, and about a week before we were supposed to close, maybe 14 days before we were supposed to close, on a Sunday I got a call from the M&A guy who was handling this transaction. His name was Deepak. And I said, hey Deepak, how you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm doing good, I'm doing all right. He's like, I got something I need to talk to you about. And over the course of the next 30 minutes or so, Deepak told me how they were going to cut the price by $4 million. And Deepak knew, based on what I had told them before, that I was in a jam, and it would be very difficult for me to tell them, screw you, I'm not going to do that. And I ended up having to agree to that. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you think you're so smart. And the lesson I got from it was not only that same lesson I had as a buyer, right? You're trying to get a dream exit for you. You're not trying to give the person you're buying the business from a dream exit. But on top of that, it was very, very clear to me that I needed help. I should have gotten help. I should have planned for that to happen. And I should have anticipated things that I didn't anticipate. And whether it's $4 million, $40, $400, $4,000, I don't want any entrepreneur or business owner to give up money to someone at the end because you didn't do something right during the process. And it happens all the time. Is there anyone else in here that's happened to? Is there anyone else who's done that with the information you had? Yes, of course. Of course. So, $4 million mistakes hurt. And I don't want you to have any type of mistake like that. So, what's a buyer's lens? What's it look like? Well, your numbers make sense and you understand them. This is a big, big issue. Many business owners and entrepreneurs have numbers that aren't that great. You know, you don't really think they're that important. You know, the person that's doing your books came up through the company and they've been a great person, all this stuff, and the books look okay. I mean, I get them, it looks all right. And on top of that, so many of us don't understand our numbers. We don't, you know, how many entrepreneurs, business owners have you heard of? Wow, the bean counter takes care of that. I have no idea. Can't read an income statement, can't read a balance sheet, have no idea what your assets are like, you don't know anything, except that you have money in the bank. And that's probably no one in this room, but it's a lot of people that I've met. So you need to make sure that your numbers are right, because they are going to get so scrutinized, and you have to make sure you understand them before you give them to anyone. Your business is growing year over year. That's super important. For those of you who think that it's okay to just stay where you are, it may be okay for you. It's not okay for getting maximum value out of your business. And that's a personal choice, and I'm not here to say which is the best. But I've met a lot of people who want to keep their business the same, but want the valuation of their business to keep going up, because that's just the way the world works, right? 3% a year, inflation, right? That's not how buying a business works. So I want to make sure that your business is growing year over year and your margins and profits are growing year over year. It's no fun to grow with no more money, but it happens all the time. So that's got to be part of your plan as well. That's what a buyer is going to be looking for. A buyer is going to be looking for whether you've invested in your business. The last thing that somebody wants to buy besides your dumpster fires is, especially if you have assets, you know, in your business, that buy a bunch of assets that they need to replace, that you haven't maintained, that are junk, but you've been getting by with them. Not going to get maximum value out of your business like that. Your business doesn't rely on you. That's a hard one. It's so simple. People say it all the time, right? You got to get out of your business. Work out of your business. What is it? I don't know, whatever. Work above your business, not in your business. You got to get out of your business. And I don't mean leave. I don't mean not be crucial to the growth of the business or some component of the business, but not be crucial. You cannot be crucial to the business as a whole. You have documented, repeatable processes. It's not okay to be, no, I shouldn't say that. Maximum value doesn't come from tribal knowledge. Tribal knowledge is really cool and it's great while the tribe's in there. And as soon as the tribe's not in there, it really sucks, right? It's really, really hard to make up for someone who knows a lot and you haven't documented anything that they know. It's really hard for you to bring people on who can ramp up in your business and contribute at a very, very high level very quickly if they have no idea how to do the job. And they have to rely on someone piecemealing information to them in order to do the job. So documenting your processes is super important. You have intellectual property that creates a moat around your business. And this doesn't have to be really difficult intellectual property or really sophisticated or software or stuff like that. But everything that you're doing in your business that's unique to you is intellectual property to your business. And you need to understand it. You need to make a big deal out of it, because it's got value. A lot of people sell their businesses and they don't think their business has any intellectual property. It has no value. They think, oh, my business is just like everybody else's business is doing this. And you know what? It may be. But a buyer doesn't know that. And a buyer wants to make sure that you have something special. And that's your intellectual property alongside your processes and all the other cool things you're doing in your business. And this goes along with that. You have a unique value proposition. You have to know why your business is so much better than anybody else with a similar business out there. And again, it's easy for you to compare yourself to other people doing the same kind of work. It's sort of natural even, and your teams will gravitate to that too, unless you make that distinction and really push it hard. You all have a unique selling proposition, whether it's you've heard give me your elevator speech or that type of stuff. That's not it. It's what's real. What's real about your business. So look at what's real about your business. Look at what is very valuable about your business. Start making a big deal about it. Not only inside your business, but to your clients and customers as well. So the freeing yourself from the business is, typically there's like three different, I call them, like three different ways you do that. You're either the Superman, or woman, you're the person in your business that gets everything done, everything has to come through me, you're at the tip and everything has to come to the tip. It's a horrible model. It's actually a necessary model for a certain period of time, right? Definitely a necessary model, but as you're growing value in your business, it becomes a very poor model. Tallest building is the same thing. Your job is to create the strongest foundation in your business and not be the tallest building. You want to make sure that your business has a strong enough foundation to support other tall buildings who can run your business for you once you sell it. And Dancing Bear is, to me, that's like the salesperson type thing who thinks that every deal is contingent on them sort of coming in to close it at the end. If you're that kind of person, I think that's a wonderful skill set. If I'm a buyer for your business, I hate that. I hate that, because as soon as I hand you a check, guess what you're going to do? You're going to stop being a dancing bear for me, right? Or you're going to tell me, oh, I'm going to still dance for you. Don't worry about that. I'm going to do it. I'm all in. And then the first time I do something you don't like, you're like, I think I might just go do something else. So you don't want to be either one of those things, folks. And the way I like to get people started or thinking about this is a playbook, because everybody sort of understands a playbook. And a playbook is really just a way for you to start documenting the things that we've been talking about. Thinking about, where do I want to end up? Where am I right now? The reality check. Let's start building all the things that the buyer is looking for with the buyer's lens. Let's start focusing on and building a game plan around those things, so that when it comes time, and even if it doesn't come time, when it comes time for you to sell your business, you are going to be prepared to get maximum value, maximum meaning from it. And this is what a playbook should cover. At least part of what a playbook should cover. So building and maximizing value in your business, how to prepare your business for a sale, the buyer's lens, how to prepare you for a sales process. That's a lot. Nobody's going to help you through this, especially if you're not prepared. You can hire people to help you through the process, but if you don't know what it's going to be like to go through that process, you are going to get schooled, and it's not going to be fun. And at the end, you're going to be like, what do I do now? You have to be thinking about you as you go through this process. Building the right advisory team, super important. Just like the accounting thing we talked about, if you have, if you're accounting, if you're legal, if, all these other things are not professionals who have experience in mergers and acquisitions or experience in transactions, you're going to struggle to get the result that you want. So you have to start building a team of competent people who can really help you through a sales process, and not when you want to sell. Identifying the right kind of buyer for you. We talked about the different types. Negotiating a sale that works, that gets you what you want. Super important, of course. Navigating the business transition, being a great seller. This is something that I think is often overlooked. When you sell your business to someone, you want to make sure that you are a great seller, which means you have to be prepared for what it's going to be like after you sell the business. If you agree to work for the company for a period of time, you have to have an understanding and an awareness and acceptance of what that's going to be like. And there's a million other things you want to be considering, because if you're not a good seller, it becomes regret. If If you're not a good seller, it becomes regret. And then getting ready to maximize meaning in your post-sale life. That's super important, and there's no investment banker or M&A attorney or anyone else who's going to do that work for you. And it's not going to happen after. You're not going to just like have an epiphany after you sell your business. You have to start thinking about that right now. Not to say that you have to get it exactly right. Probably won't get it exactly right, but you have to have a plan as you go through it. This is kind of like the dream exit journey that as I see it, at least, it's like 5 steps, and we have decide and define, run and realize, execute and energize, amplify and actualize, and then maximize M3. So maximize meaning and maximize money. What time is it, Rob? Okay. So when you fail to plan some of the things that we've been talking about, this is what happens to you. You get hit with a baseball bat in the head, or that's what it's going to feel like. Has anyone been hit, figuratively, with a baseball bat in the head? Jim, you're the only one, I guess. Tom Hill, you never been hit with a baseball bat? Todd? Come on. You guys have all been hit with baseball bats in the head, and it sucks. Right? But sometimes you got it coming. Sometimes you got it coming. So I want to help you not have it coming. And these are the things that can create baseball bat moments to the head when you're looking to sell or maximize value in your business. First is the due diligence fiascos. Who's been through a due diligence process before? Yeah. How did it feel? It's rough. It's rough. And if you're not prepared for it, not only is it going to be rough, but it's going to be a $4 million hit at the end. Failure to get a deal done. Earn-out arguments, huge. Working capital adjustments and true-ups. Now I want to stop there for a second. If you were at the BizTimes M&A thing a couple of months ago, was anybody there? I can't remember the name of the guy who sold his business, but there were like 3 of them up there, and they were talking about the experience of selling your business. And the one guy seemed very happy with his transaction, and then someone asked him about working capital adjustments, and he got this sort of awkward smile on his face. And to me, it seemed like he kind of wanted to run away a little bit. Does anyone know what working capital is? I'm not going to call on you because who else knows? Who owns a business and doesn't know what working capital is? Oh, come on. Nobody? Nobody wants to admit. Okay. So if there's anything you take away from this as a business owner, I want you to take working capital adjustments and true-ups away. I want you to go look it up, see what it means, because this is one that gets almost every entrepreneur or business owner pissed off after the close, not before, after, because what this is a way for the buyer to say, hey, in addition to, we're going to pay you X for your business, but you know what? Your business needs X amount of money in order for it to continue to operate after I buy it. And I want you to fund that. And this is common. I mean, it's not like they're screwing you on that concept, at least. It's common. I want you to fund that. And don't worry about it. We'll put a working capital adjustment in the purchase order agreement, or the purchase agreement. And 60, 90 days after we close, we'll get together and we'll true that sucker up and everything will be cool. And you go, that sounds fine. Because that's something you might say to somebody about something, that you have legitimate sort of good faith that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. The problem is when the buyer says working capital adjustment, they mean one thing. And when the seller hears working capital adjustment, they think it's another thing. And when that 90-day period comes, or 60-day, or whenever that true up is, that misalignment comes to reality, and you're in a fight over money. Because you think that working capital is just the difference between what I owe people and what they owe me. And the buyer thinks, nope, that's not what it is, because it takes 2 months of what people owe you in order to run this business. So I want 2 months, and you're thinking you're going to get 1 month. So basically, it's a hundreds of thousands of dollar adjustment that if you're not prepared for and you don't understand, and you don't negotiate up front specifically, you end up taking a haircut at the end, which leads to regret and all the things that we've been talking about. So I just want you to take that away. Lack of alignment with the new owner, huge. A lot of people say, I want when I say maximum value, I don't always mean maximum money, the highest money that you can get, because if you can't work with who bought your business and you've committed to working with them, you've bought yourself regret. And then divorce, depression, regret, etc. These are really big things. If you're not prepared for what your meaning's going to be after life, or if you haven't talked to your spouse or significant other about what this is going to mean to your life after you sell your business, and you think, oh, everything's just going to be the same. I'm going to just be home all the time and it's going to be great. Or whatever. There's all kinds of scenarios, but just say that the divorce rate for people who sell their businesses is very, very, very high. So you have to be prepared for, and I'm not talking about separation. I'm not talking about, what's the thing you do with prenups? It's too late for that. I'm just talking about having conversations about what life is going to be like after this happens. So this is kind of what it, yeah, right? This is what it means. Like, have we talked about this? So as we wind down here, I just want you to be thinking about what are the dumpster fires in your business right now that your buyer's lens can help you eliminate. With what you've learned today and what we've talked about, and all progress starts with the truth, right? Why don't you go back to your business and think about these things? If these things are in your business right now, and they probably are, because it would be very abnormal for none of these to be in your business, let's start working on these. Let's start putting a plan together. Let's start refining the value proposition of our business through a buyer's lens. And of course, you got to look at yourself as well. So these 5 words are my favorite words in the whole world. Your future is your property. I heard these words first in 2003. Dan Sullivan, the person who co-wrote the book I gave out, said this. I was listening to a CD. I'm dating myself, but I was listening to a CD, and he said, my future is my property. And that was a baseball bat to the head moment for me, because I'd never heard that before. I'd never heard anybody say, my future is my property. And I had, up to that point, I always thought, my future isn't my property. I can't control my future. My future controls me. It just happens. And I've become convinced through my own experience and my experience working with others that is just simply not true. Sure, things are going to happen in your future that you didn't predict. Things are going to happen that you didn't welcome or invite into your life. But when you know what you want and you start working toward that, it's amazing how the likelihood that your future becomes what you want is realized. Your future is your property. It's a very tangible thing, and you can own it. And I think about that every day with me. My future is my property. It's nobody else's. It's not Todd's, not Tom's, not Jim's, not Dave's, not Andrea's. It's nobody. It's mine. I'm responsible for it. And as a business owner, that's a lot to take on. But you have responsibility to make sure your future is your property, which means you have to know what you want, and then you got to go put a plan together in order to get it. So today's takeaways: develop an exit-ready mindset today. Even if you have no intention of selling, develop that mindset today. Design your business to operate well, optimally without you. Commit to being exit-ready. The best exit-ready entrepreneur that you can be. accept that being exit ready is your most important responsibility, particularly if you have a business that is not a startup. Obviously, your most important thing is survival in that stage, but once you are past the survival stage, it shifts to being exit ready. And then get help when you need it. There's a lot of people that can help get you from where you are to where you want to be. And if it's a struggle for you, I'm not suggesting you need help, but if it's a struggle for you, find someone who can help you, because the investment in getting help, I would say, is a 10, 20, 100 time investment or a return when you go to sell your business. It's that impactful. It's super impactful. And most of all, I want you to douse all your dumpster fires as soon as possible. I know new ones will come up, but any that are lingering in your business right now that you're ignoring or kicking down the road or whatever, just get rid of them. Because the energy you waste on these things is energy you could put into maximizing the value of your business. So give yourself a gift and start thinking about and planning for getting maximum value and maximum meaning out of your business today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. So I thank you very much for being here and listening to me and interacting with me. If you want to connect with me, you can scan that thing like everybody does, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. And thank you for choosing this room, because I know you had other rooms to choose from. Yes?
Are you taking questions or no?
I'm going to take some questions. Yes.
Okay. I just have a very specific question, so I wanted to corner you. You mentioned that in the buyer's lens, it includes like investing in your own business.
Yeah.
I've got a couple personal experiences to add to this, but do you find often that owners need to or are surprised by the fact that they may need to reinvest in their technology, like their CRM, their website, before sale, or is it more like a house? You don't remodel your kitchen because the new owners are probably going to do that, or do you invest in it and get a higher sale price?
Yeah, so I'd say the last thing you said is what I would recommend. You invest in it and you get a higher sale process. So it becomes part of the value creation of your business, so that when someone buys it, they know that they're not starting at a point where they have to catch up.
Yeah, I've seen both ends, so I was curious what you most often see.
So if you want to get maximum value, I'd say it's the last one. If you want to think you're going to fool a buyer, go ahead and do it the other way. Yeah.
Reinvest, got it.
Yeah, thanks. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Can you share with us what did you say caused that $4 million?
Yeah, I can. So what I had done, I told you I had bought my partners out a few years earlier. And in the buyout agreement with them, there was a provision that if we got a step up in value in a fixed period of time after their transaction, they would participate in the step up. And I didn't want that, so I wanted to avoid that. And as a result, I had to pay them before the transaction closed. So I had to come up with a lot of money in order to do that, which I was willing to do because it was a good return on the investment. But instead of keeping that to myself, I mentioned that, and I actually asked for help. I thought, well, maybe we can do this transaction a little differently so that I can get some, pay them, and then get the rest. And so I opened the door to something that was none of their business, to something that exposed vulnerability on my part, thinking that, like I said, we're buddies now, we're good. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So that's what happened. And there's lots of ways that can happen. I mean, my story is my own, but there are a lot of ways that I've seen that happen, and I want to prevent it. You want to prevent that. You definitely want to prevent that. So you're welcome. Anyone else? All right, well, lovely. Thank you for coming to the BizTimes Expo, and thanks for coming to my room.